Kindness is one of those universally admired traits that we all strive to embody. We teach our children to be kind, we seek kindness from others, and we feel good when we're kind to someone. But have you ever stopped to think about the potential downsides of being kind? Imagine the most selfless person you know, the one who always says yes, who constantly prioritizes the comfort of others over their own. Now, look closer. See the subtle tension around their eyes, the quiet resentment buried beneath a placid smile. That person is not just being kind. They are engaged in a silent, self-sacrificial war. And you are left wondering, is this virtue, or is it a beautifully disguised form of self-annihilation? This is the great, unsettling paradox. We have been taught that kindness is an unalloyed good, a moral absolute. But what if our relentless pursuit of it is secretly draining our vitality, eroding our boundaries, and making us complicit in our own diminishment? What dark alchemy is at work when a virtue meant to connect us instead becomes a cage? The ancient Greeks feared hubris, the pride that comes before a fall. But perhaps there is an equal and opposite danger in the pride of humility, in the secret ego of the saint. This is not a call for cruelty, but for a terrifying question. Could your kindness be the very thing keeping you from your true strength? The answer lies in the shadow of an angel and a philosopher who dared to stare into the abyss of our deepest moral assumptions. Consider the psychological machinery behind this saintly facade. Every time you suppress a legitimate desire, swallow a justified complaint, or offer your other cheek, you are not merely being good. You are performing a delicate surgery on your own psyche, severing the aggressive, self-affirming instincts that constitute your fundamental will. This is the territory mapped by Friedrich Nietzsche, who saw not virtue in this self-denial, but a profound sickness, a slave morality born not from strength, but from the resentment of the weak. The early Christians, he argued, couldn't defeat the Roman masters physically, so they launched a philosophical coup. They declared the masters, strength and pride, to be evil, and their own weakness and humility to be good. This is the hidden poison in the cup of kindness. It becomes a tool for the weak to guilt-trip the strong, and for the strong to police themselves into docility. Your kindness is not always a pure offering. Sometimes it is the ghost of a transaction, a silent plea to be seen as good, to be liked, to avoid conflict. It is the fear of your own power, disguised as virtue. Carl Jung would call this your shadow, the repressed, assertive, and potentially glorious parts of yourself that you bury under a mountain of pleasantries. But what happens to a force that is constantly repressed? It doesn't vanish. It festers, curdles, and emerges in twisted forms, as passive aggression, as simmering bitterness, as a life lived in quiet desperation. You have been conditioned to believe that to be good is to be harmless. But what if true goodness requires a capacity for harm, consciously restrained? The consequences of this misunderstanding are not just personal. They are silently sculpting the very fabric of our world. The unseen consequence of this tamed kindness is a world drained of its authentic texture, a society where genuine connection is sacrificed at the altar of pleasantness. You navigate a landscape of smiling masks, where everyone is so busy managing each other's feelings that truth becomes the ultimate casualty. This is the silent trap, a cultural conditioning that prizes comfort over growth and safety over destiny. Your brain, wired to seek social approval, now misidentifies this non-confrontational harmony as a survival imperative. Every time you choose the path of least resistance, you strengthen a neural pathway that equates assertiveness with danger and self-erasure with safety. This cognitive bias, this unseen script, shapes a reality where profound conversations die unborn, where artistic visions are diluted to be palatable, and where necessary conflicts are avoided, allowing injustices to fester. The collective shadow of our unlived aggression doesn't disappear. It coalesces. It manifests as the vicious mob online, the quiet contempt in a stagnant relationship, or the systemic inertia that stifles innovation and punishes dissent. Your forced smile at a slight becomes a brick in a wall that imprisons everyone. The urgency here is not to become cruel, but to recognize that your inability to consciously wield your own capacity for force, for a righteous no, has made you an unwitting architect of a world that is polite, perhaps, but perilously shallow. You feel a gnawing emptiness, a sense of having missed your own life. But what if the way out is not to become kinder, but to become more complete? The rebellion begins not with an action, but with a seismic shift in perception. The rebellion begins with a heretical thought. What if true virtue is not the absence of darkness, but the integration of it? To break free, you must perform a radical act of reclamation. You must cease seeing your assertiveness, your anger, your desire for boundaries as moral failings, and instead recognize them as the necessary foundations of any meaningful kindness. This is the path of what Nietzsche called the Urmensch, not a blonde beast, but the individual who has overcome the herd morality, who has the courage to say, I am not here to be pleasant. I am here to be real. This is the counterintuitive solution. To become truly good, you must first give yourself permission to be consciously, responsibly bad. Look to the historical figures who broke this very chain. Viktor Frankl, in the concentration camps, discovered that the last of human freedoms is to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, a profound act of spiritual rebellion. This is your model. It starts with small, deliberate violations of your own conditioned niceness. It means articulating the uncomfortable truth in a meeting. It means disappointing someone gracefully to honor your own needs. It means allowing your anger to inform you of a boundary that has been crossed, rather than suppressing it as a sin. This is not about unleashing chaos. It is about wielding your full humanity with conscious intent. You are not destroying your kindness. You are fortifying it with a spine of authentic strength. But this reclamation leads to one final, terrifying, and liberating realization about the very nature of the power you have been avoiding. The ultimate truth is this: the dark side of kindness was never a flaw in your character, but a misunderstanding of power itself. You feared that to embrace your full capacity for force was to become a monster. But the real monstrosity is a virtue that is powerless, a goodness that is contingent on never being challenged. The final, paradigm-shifting realization is that authentic kindness is not the opposite of power. It is power's highest expression. It is the lion choosing not to devour the lamb, not because it is weak, but because it is sated and sovereign. The Lucifer Effect is not about falling from grace through pride, but through a failure to integrate one's own light and shadow into a cohesive, self-authored whole. Your journey ends not with the rejection of kindness, but with its transfiguration. You now see that the kindness born of fear is a cage, while the kindness born of integrated strength is a bridge. It is a conscious choice, made from a place of abundance, not lack. It is the profound understanding that to truly offer light to another, you must first have consented to the terrifying and glorious darkness within yourself. This is the poetic conclusion. You are not here to be a harmless saint, but a sovereign force of nature, capable of both creation and destruction, who consciously, deliberately, chooses to build. Let this truth haunt you, not as a specter of guilt, but as the dawn of a responsibility so profound it redefines every interaction, every sacrifice, every act of grace you will ever again perform. If you've ever struggled with the dark side of kindness, share your story in the comments below. And if you're looking for more tips on self-care strategies, check out my video on simple ways to prioritize your mental health.